Welcome to the Good News Show with me, Professor Grant Schofield, your host. The Good News Show brought to you by PreKure.com, where prevention is cure. The Good News Show is a response to mainstream media bad news, where it's full of news that gives you anxiety and no hope. We give you hope, we give you tools, we give you the tools and news for having a good, healthy, happy life. And in breaking news right now, we're hearing a new location of interest in New Zealand, Taupo, the town of Taupo, and there's the good news is there's now cases of people reversing their chronic disease, turning around the previously diseases like diabetes that have just been treated palliative. We're going to cross to our correspondent there, Dr. Glen Davies. Dr. Glen Davies, of course, is New Zealand General Practitioner of the Year. Good evening, Glen. It's good to see you. I thought you were going to have your virtual background up of Taupo.
I've got the virtual background. There we are.
Okay, well, there's
beautiful Lake Taupo.
Thank you, Dr. Davies. Glen, there's widespread. I think we can deal with that. Put that away now. Glen, there's widespread reports of new cases in Taupo of people reversing their chronic disease through lifestyle. What are you seeing out there in the field?
Well, it seems to be happening everywhere, and in my practice at the Taupo Medical Centre, we've now got 127 people that have reversed their type 2 diabetes or their pre-diabetes, and most of them have been able to come off their medications.
And is this a new thing that you've been seeing in your medical practice?
Well, I went to a conference back in about 2018. I heard this slightly unusual professor, Professor Schofield, speaking, and after hearing that, I was really inspired to think, you know, that diabetes is not a chronic progressive condition. It can actually be cured.
Wait a minute. No. Wait a minute.
And what steps are people taking to reverse this? Can you spread the good news there?
Well, so it's actually really simple. It's about healthy, whole food nutrition. It's about people eating truckloads of green leafy vegetables. Fantastic if they're growing them in their own garden. It's about eating meat, fish, chicken, and it's just getting rid of all the sugar, all of the processed foods, and all of these crappy vegetable oils.
Well, that's great news. And I've heard recently that there's also been some spread of these cases across to nearby Turangi.
Well, it's contagious, you know, and it certainly seems to be moving quickly. I haven't calculated the R0 value, but I think it's moving quickly between Taupo and Turangi. Yeah, people jumping on the wagon in Turangi as well.
And so the good news is that everyone can do this, right? And the good news is that every doctor in this country can do this as well. Well, what do you think the elephant in the room is here as far as that not happening?
We need to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Francine.
Well, I think as doctors, we've been trained to use medications, and I think we've undervalued the role of lifestyle medicine, which is quite simply healthy nutrition, movement, and exercise, getting good quality sleep, and having good quality connection. And I think doctors are just so used to reaching for the script pad, we're just not in the habit of starting with talking about lifestyle medicine.
And so how would you do that? What would a typical consultation look like in a sort of good news type way?
So I ask people what they're eating, and people are generally eating crap. You know, they're eating processed food, things that comes out of packets. And all I'm doing is I'm telling them that just eat the way our ancestors ate. You know, think back to what the cavemen did. You know, it was a lot of effort to get food back then, I imagine. You know, having to go and hunt an animal, drag it back to the cave, light the fire, butcher the animal. I don't believe that people were eating 3 or 6 meals a day. I think they were just probably eating 1 or 2 meals a day, natural, whole food, unprocessed, simple.
Where do you see the future of medicine in Australia and New Zealand, and what good news can you share about where that you think that's going to go?
I think this is going to be highly contagious. I think we're going to see every doctor, every nurse, every health professional starting with the whole food, natural diet, lifestyle medicine message. Now, there will still be a place for medications, but I think it's a much smaller place than where it is now.
And of course, this doesn't just, the good news is that this doesn't relate just to diabetes. We're talking about a number of chronic diseases. Can you report any other cases you've seen of a reversal of those other types of diseases around Taupo?
It just doesn't stop. Well, to start with, people just start feeling better, but this has application for neurological conditions like Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, but where I get most excited, it's cancer. You know, I think that's where the biggest opportunity to make the biggest differences. So I think these whole food diets have big application for an adjunctive management in cancer.
Well, that's great news for anyone out there, and I guess people can just get started right away. The first thing to do is to simply get rid of the ultra-processed food in the cupboard and then start to populate their refrigerator with whole food, as I think you said, low in human interference.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great news, Glenn. Is there anything else you're seeing out there in the field?
When I eavesdrop on conversations in cafes, I'm hearing everyone talk about nutrition.
I don't know what I'm going to do. She thinks I'm vegan. I've been eating meat for 3 years without her knowing. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh my God.
You know, people are talking about their macros. You know, it's fantastic to hear the interest spreading. And then every cafe in Taupo is offering a low carb or a keto option. And for example, the Indian takeaways are offering the cauliflower rice as an option rather than the plain rice. So it's everywhere. People have joked that Taupo is the keto capital of the world.
Is that an awkward thing that you would be sitting in cafes eavesdropping on other people's conversations? Is that normal?
Well, yeah, as long as you do it subtly, it's fine.
Okay, good deal. I think subtleness is the way to go there. Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Davies, and I'll now just put you out of here. And we really do thank you for joining us tonight with the Good News Show. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, well, that's live breaking news and the good news in Taupo. And I think the good news is that can spread. Congratulations to Dr. Davies, New Zealand General Practitioner of the Year, for his work reversing diabetes. He's also, I think the other interesting thing that he's done that he didn't mention there, he started to use health coaches as well in his practice. So it's not just him, he can oversee a group of committed people, helping people, meeting them where they're at, helping them on the journey to good health. So congratulations, Glenn. I hope it is contagious, this idea of lifestyle medicine, and we hope in the years to come, this is going to be normal medical practice. That's the Good News Show almost for tonight. Some extra admin on the Good News Show. If you have any good news to share, or you've got any ideas for the show, please put them in the comments below, wherever you're seeing this, or email us, goodnews@PreKure, with a K, at PreKure.com, goodnews@PreKure.com. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, we're finishing with the weather forecast. In Australia and New Zealand, again, there's a complex set of ridges, troughs, highs and lows, and I've got really no idea what it's going to do. It could rain, it could be sunny, but chances are there will be some fine weather. Whatever it is, remember, the weather is like your life. There's clouds, there's storms, there's lightning, there's blue sky, but all the time there's blue sky behind that, and the blue sky always comes back. That's the Good News Show for tonight. Good night.